Hello guys, welcome to the C++ tutorial series. In this video, we'll learn about classes in C++. My name is Kafui and welcome to my channel multi.dev. Please subscribe and like to help the channel grow and turn on the bell notification icon to get notified whenever I release a content on the channel. With that said, let's dive in. In C++, a class is a fundamental building block of OOP or Object-Oriented Programming. It is a user-defined data type that represents a blueprint for creating objects. A class defines a set of attributes or data members and methods or functions that can operate on those attributes. So in order to write or declare your own class in C++, you first of all write the class keyword and then the name of the class. So in this example, I write the name person and then terminate it. So what I just did is declaring a class or class declaration by writing the class keyword followed by the name of the class. So in order to define a class in C++, you go ahead, write the class keyword, the name of the class, and then finally you bring the class body, which is curly braces. So in the curly braces, that's where you put your logic or your data members and then data functions. So all the data members and data functions are referred to as class members. So this is how we can declare a class in C++, and then this is how we define class in C++. So after defining a class, you can create instances of that class. This is done by writing the name of the class followed by the instance name or variable. So let's say I want to create an instance of this class. So I'll go ahead in my main function. I write the name of the class followed by the instance. So I just initialize the class, or I just define the class by writing the name of the class, which is person class, and then followed by the instance, which is now person. So I can create several instances of this class that I've defined here. So I can say this should be person 1. I can go ahead and call it again and say this should be person 2. So I can create several instances of this class, and this class is just like the instance of the class is an object in C++. So in C++, classes can have member fields. A class can have a set of data in it. These are called member fields. So for instance, I can come ahead in this class and initialize a variable and say let int or integer of age. I can just declare it, or I can initialize it to, let's say, a random integer and then save. So this integer variable is referred to as class member field. It's a class member field. I can go ahead, initialize another one. This one is a string and then the name. So this one I just declared it. Let me just include the string header using the include directive so that we don't get an error. So I've just initialized a string data type of name. So these are referred to as class member fields. They are class member fields. And classes can have functions which are referred to as member functions. So a class can have functions called member functions, and they can also be called methods. So since instances of this class that we've created are objects, functions that are part of an object are referred to as methods, or are normally called methods. So let me just go ahead and then initialize a method or declare or define a method called greet, and then this will just std cout my name is, then the name, and then finally I'll terminate this. So this greet method doesn't do anything that much. It's just outputting my name is and then the name of the person, or the name that will be passed to the instance of the class. Now one thing we can do, so a class can have several member functions and then member fields. So I can go ahead and then write another function. So I'll just declare another function, and then the function can have different return types. I'll just go ahead and declare a function and say another function. Let me just short it, and then maybe std cout another function. This is not a very good example, but I just want to demonstrate to you that what a class can have any number of member functions. Now in classes we have what you call access specifiers. Access specifiers are used to specify access or visibility levels for class members. So in C++ there are three access specifiers, which are the public, the protected, and then the private access specifiers. Now what these access specifiers do is it helps us to know how these member fields and member functions can be accessed. So when you declare by default in C++, when you don't declare any access specifier, all the member functions and member fields are private. They are private by default. So it means they can only be accessed in this class. But when you declare them as public, it means in later video when we talk about inheritance, it means other classes and other members, other classes can access the members and then the functions from this class or individual classes. So by default in C++, if you don't give any access specifier, by default the access specifier is private. So these member functions and member fields cannot be accessed by any other class that will be declared later on. So we can declare another class. So I can just come here and then define another class and say class my class, just giving it this class, and I'll just leave it empty as such. So let me demonstrate to you. So when I go ahead and then write public, the public access specifier followed by a colon, so it means all these class member fields and then functions are public by default. When I change it to private, which is by default, it means all these class member functions and then and members are private, and then I can use the protected as well. So this is how we can give visibility to our member functions and then and fields and member fields. So I'll just make it public, and then let's say I'll come down here and then make this one private. So it means anything that goes below this private access specifier are they are private. So let's say I want to make this function public, so I can cut it and then put it here and then save. So we have one public member field and then one public function, and then this one too, we have one private and then a member field and then one private function. So that is it. So whenever we call the class, so in later video we'll learn about how we can initialize a class call, when we call a class, how we can initialize it in C++. So that is all for this video about classes. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.